Hi, everybody, and welcome to VR for Work. My name's Rick, and I'm your host here at VR for Work. Today is December 8th, 2020, and we're continuing our series looking at VR anatomy applications. And so with that, let's jump into our presentation today. Today, we're going to be looking at a anatomy application that you can find over in the Oculus Rift store, and that is Anatomy Explorer. Now, Anatomy Explorer has been around since the Oculus Go days. In fact, I have a vague memory of downloading their Oculus Go app onto my Quest 1 some time ago, and they have this now updated Anatomy Explorer app that's available to us over in the Oculus Rift store. So being that it's a Rift app, even though I use it on my Quest, I'm accessing it via the link cable on my PC. So let's jump in and see what is it. So as it exists on the Rift platform version, I see it as an anatomy learning platform for consumers and student use, right? This is single user, get in and play around with anatomy models. On their website, however, Anatomy Explorer has this text: is an innovative way to study human anatomy even more ingeniously. Primarily developed for academic institution, highlight being mine. It is developed for university professors and their students. Desktop headsets, hand-on controllers ensure no limitation to movement, blah, blah, blah. And then you get down to learn together and share your knowledge with other students using multiplayer mode. Now, I've not looked at the multiplayer mode. I am not aware of how you license or get the multiplayer mode, but you'll see when we jump into the demo here in just a moment that that is an option on the menu screen. So who is this for? Again, the Rift version that's available in the store today that you can get for $29.99, I see for students and consumers. However, there seems to be some tier level that's available for educators, professionals, and institutions that allow a sharing of the information and the content. However, check the licensing. I have reached out to Anatomy Explorer here at VR for Work. Haven't heard anything back yet, but if by chance they get in touch with us and we're able to go in and check out that multiplayer function, we'll certainly bring you that information and check back in on it and let you know what's possible with it. And so again, as I've mentioned, what platform does it run on? It's in the Rift store. It supports Rift, Rift S, and I use it with my Quest 2 via a link cable, or certainly if you're a virtual desktop user, it would work that way also. So let's jump into the demo here. I'm going to launch into Oculus Link and go into my Rift House and launch Anatomy Explorer 2020. I'll be pausing frequently here to give brief explanations of what's going on, and you can see that as we come into the environment, you can see play and more players. Now you'll notice in a second when I continue this that I'm going to click on more players, and what happens is I'll get a message that says, hey, this feature is only available if you get an enterprise license. If you're interested, contact us, info@medicinevirtual.com. So not something that's immediately available or accessible, or you can turn on or you can buy in the store. You have to go back to the dev to get more information. We're going to go into our single user scenario, and here we are. Okay, so let me pause here. So on your left controller is where you have your tool icons, and they float out there, and you can invoke them or get rid of them by pressing the left controller menu button. I want to call out the systems that you see available here. These are the systems that are available in the application. Now, a couple of things jumped out to me immediately, like, oh, I don't see a cardiac, or I don't see a heart, or individual specific organs. And you do have to drill in order to get to them. And that was one of the things that you'll have to adapt to through using Anatomy Explorer, is you need to be an explorer. You need to kind of work your way through. There's not an in-depth tutorial. There's a kind of a basic tutorial about how to navigate, how to use the tools, but it doesn't take you or guide you in any way into how to really get the most out of it. Although I think there is a good deal of depth here. Obviously, you come in, you've got the skeleton kind of here in front of you, and you can kind of point out, grab a model, pull it out, and over on the right, what you'll see is this info pane. And so any particular structure that you grab, you will get this info pane, and you can move this around. You can see I can grab it, pull it towards me. A plus, A minus is, becomes font size. And this is one of those really kind of, again, things that you have to work through to really take advantage of the application, is you're kind of fully self-discovery in terms of how this application works and how you get the most out of it. But there is a lot of depth here in terms of the information. You can see how I can take the skull, I can bring this apart, and I can do what's unfold and fold these structures and take a look at the individual components and get an explanation of what they all are. Now I can hit the B for the back button, and it will replace the component back where it started. Now again, over here on the toolbar, I can grab, and we're going to add musculature on top of the skeleton. Now, an important thing to note is that you can only overlay 2 systems at a time. So I can have skeleton and muscle, I can have skeleton or digestive, I can have muscle and digestive, but not skeleton, muscle, and digestive, all at the same time in the same models. What I'm doing now is that also on the toolbar, you're able to call out different degrees of landmarks on the various organ systems. So in this case, I've pressed plus once on skeletal, and it's giving me these landmarks that, again, I can call out. If I rest my cursor on top of the particular hotspot that's highlighted, it will tell me what that is. And then again, I can go into the info box and kind of read more about the trochlea of the humerus, right? Where does that fit? Now, in this particular case, I think I had to go to page 2 because of the size of the font. The font changes, you can't change the size of the actual panel, and there's trochlea. So I can kind of discover what component of the particular structure that is, and then I can return it. And then I'm going to press plus one more time. I get another set of landmarks. And as I explored this a little bit, again, because there's not a tutorial to kind of walk you through some of these features, you end up kind of, again, having to figure out what these landmarks mean. And as I kind of highlighted them in red, okay, muscle. So these are where the muscles attach to the bone. I get it now, right? So you kind of have to figure this out. But if you're a novice at this, this could be rather frustrating to kind of know what you're even looking at. So now you can kind of take apart this model and drill down. Now, what I've just done here is go into what's called ant mode. And this is the mode where it kind of suggests it shrinks you down in size, and then you can fly up to and actually into and through the various 3D structures and models to get that ant's perspective, if you will, of what they're showing you. Now you can still go in here and you can highlight the various structures. You can get the names, and you can have the info panel available to you to look. However, you can't do any of the functions like taking the model apart while you're in ant mode. So ant mode is kind of what you see is what you get, and it gives you, again, that kind of not quite microscopic, but certainly close up exploded view of the various components. You can see, again, I can explode this toolbar a little bit. I can come out of ant mode, and we're going to look at a couple of the other tools. And you can see, again, now there's a plus and a minus near each system. So as I hit the minus with the musculature system, right, it starts to kind of strip away upper layers of muscle so that I can see the underneath supporting layers of muscles. Now we're going to go and do a cut model. And what this does is it gives you this kind of pane of glass. And as you draw this pane of glass through the model, you can see that it kind of cuts away that surface so that you can see immediately what's laying underneath. One of the weird things here is that you can see that you're given this kind of square, but the actual cutting surface actually extends far beyond. You can see the toes are gone. The actual pane that you're working with. I guess there was this idea that your visual field, could probably only see so much at a time. And so there you go. And so, I can continue to minus through the muscles and do other things here. This is another, I think this is actually really particularly cool, called highlight, where as I might have two systems that I have in the model at any given time, I can highlight one. Here you can see I have muscle and digestive. So I can then kind of see in spatial relation where these structures are comparing to one another. So where does the digestive system fit or land within the muscular structure? I can then also use the cutting tool to then kind of go through different views, like through the back into that structure, through the muscle, and see kind of what's laying underneath specific locations or landmarks. So there is a lot of functionality here. There's a great amount of models and tools and individual components for you to leverage and manipulate. So yeah, all in all, really, really powerful application. So I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. One of the things here that I'll pause with, a couple of little things, puzzle. So you're able to do puzzle with body parts. And this kind of builds on and reinforces your knowledge of the various systems. And they also have a quiz element. So what do you need to know? Well, the secret sauce is, the cost. This application is $29.99 in the Rift store. I actually had my $10 coupon that had been kind of sitting around waiting on the right time to use it. So I got the application for $19.99, and I've been in and out of there probably 6 or more hours just in the couple of weeks that I've had it. It is one of these applications you can get in, and as you explore and as you learn more about how to use the tools, you find you spend more and more time kind of just digging through and learning stuff and trying to develop that understanding and more in-depth knowledge about human anatomy. And then having fun with the quizzes and the puzzles, which reinforce and build on that knowledge. Now, some things you have to know. You will need some base knowledge of medical terminology. If you read any of that text that quickly flashed by in the info box, I didn't focus on any of it very long. It uses medical terminology in its explanations. So you could quickly and easily get lost if you don't have that medical terminology or the willingness to go kind of learn or look up the terms. Multi-user, again, I'll reinforce, is only available in the enterprise mode. This $29.99 mode that we're talking about here, single user, great consumer student application. The tutorial is very basic: how to move, what tools that you have, how to use ant mode, and then you're kind of left on your own to figure it out. And again, there is a certain depth here that I think that I hope that the Anatomy Explorer devs take some time to help users get the most out of it. I mean, one of the things I think that would be really useful in an application like this is a guided training mode, right? I think most consumers especially would go into this kind of not even knowing where to start. How do I learn? And so having a guided mode where it would actually walk them through kind of the basic systems and components, I think people would find very, very valuable. And then users will need to spend some time experimenting with the tools to get the most from the app. Okay, well, that's it for this episode. I hope you're enjoying this anatomy series as much as I am bringing it to you. So much here to explore, and VR brings such a opportunity and depth of information to learning a topic like anatomy, where actually getting that visual representation and spatial orientation to where things are and how they work is so important. So reach out to us, vrforwork@gmail.com. That's work with no O. Check us out on Facebook at the VR for Work page, our YouTube site, Rick the VR for Work guy, and our Twitter account. So thanks again very much for joining us, and we'll see you in the metaverse. Bye now.